Greetings everyone, welcome to Chess Advance. This is another amazing game from FIDE Swiss 2025. With the white pieces we have Vincent Keymer, and with the black pieces we have Vidit Gujrathi. Definitely really strong pairing here, and Vidit has to, where the black pieces maybe just suffer here and try to maybe hold this game to a draw against Vincent. He also played against him in Chennai Masters, and now it's gonna be a little different because they drew, but this time Vincent would absolutely enjoy a win and would definitely be looking for it as well. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Vincent starts with e4. We have e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. Vincent is ready for a fight. He goes for rulo pace, knight to f6 and just t3. This is the Berlin defense. Bishop to c5 and bishop captures, t captures castles, knight to d7 and just knight bd2. And now just going for a5 immediately with it, knight to c4, queen to e7 and just rook to e1, castles, a4, now just p6 and just knight to e3. We have bishop captures following the main line of Berlin. Hey, you could go for bishop to a6 and seems like a reasonable choice as well. You are putting some pressure, but as long as you don't push those pawns, there is nothing you can do in this position. Queen to d2, rook a to d8, rook a to d1. Still here white will have some sort of advantage. He'll be able to push those pawns, c3 and d4 in this position. You would have some chances to try and push towards that c pawn and maybe start to create some chances. Still could be anyone's game. But after bishop captures, we have c5 now immediately by Vidit, but now knight bd2, bishop to b7, and hey, just you could go for again very nice c3. But c3, the trouble with c3 is that your d3 pawn becomes very weak. Rook a to d8, queen to c2, and after queen to d6, you can understand there is immense pressure once the knight moves. So you just move the knight here and get the rook's defense, and most likely this game would have ended in a draw. But still, black is piling up the pressure here in this position, and black is definitely pushing. So you don't want black to have all those advantage. You are the one playing with the white pieces. So here after bishop to b7, we have b3. Still keeping everything intact, queen to e6 and knight to f1, queen to g6 now, and just knight to g3, but just f5 by Vidit. F5 is a bold choice. Vidit is like, I'm ready for an attack here, and if you're not going to be pushing it, I'm going to be pushing it. So here just captures is the move that has to be played. E captures, rook captures, and now the thing is you cannot trade, so most likely that would be checkmate. So here after h3, you play queen to c6, now threatening checkmate. And how do you defend? Hopefully you don't defend like something that happened with the Nihal Sareen's game with the rook. So you want to be able to defend with the f pawn, and that's exactly what Vincent plays here. Rook to f6, but now just bishop to d2, but just rook to g6, attacking the knight. King to h2 now defending, queen to d6 now putting some pressure. This will be opening up an attack towards that, and you won't be able to move the knight because that will be pinned. So here just rook to e3 was played, h5, knight to e4, and just bishop captures. So he is able to just and now he trades the very strong bishop, but that knight would have been strong as well, playing on the center of the board. That would have been absolutely amazing. But here just f captures, rook to f8, but now just rook to f3, h4, queen to e2, and just rook captures, queen captures, knight to f8 now. And what do you even do in this position with a move like rook to f1? It seems very nice, but after rook to f6, you can understand it's not very nice. Here queen to e2, but just rook captures. After queen captures, you can understand this would have most likely ended in a draw, but players decided to go for a draw in a different manner. Here rook to c1 was played, but now just comes knight to e6 and just queen to h5, knight to f4. Only move in this position that had to be played with it was 35 seconds on the clock. He played this move with 5 seconds, getting an increment of 30 seconds. Absolutely insane. Here Vincent goes for bishop captures and just e captures. Now e5 by Vincent, only move, and now the only move for Vidit is he has to go for queen to c6, which he does, trying to force that mate here. Rook to g1 now, defending only thing, rook to g3. This was a crucial move that Vidit played. Brink on the seconds with the clock. It's insane. He just queen caps on h4, just grabbing the pawn, and another like absolute brilliant move by Vidit in this position. Top engine move, which is this g5. And look at his king. There is no way you can enter in this position. How do you even enter in this position? That's the crazy thing about this. Hey, just queen to h5, now trying to enter, but just king to g7. King is not allowing the queen to penetrate inside his position. That's absolutely crazy. Now just h4, trying to open up, but still you'll have nothing in this position. Queen to g6 was played, and Vincent immediately took. King captures, rook to e1 now, and hey, you could go for a lot of lines in this position. You can go for captures, you can allow this and allow the pawn push, and still it will be fine because you can pay this at the very end, so you don't have to worry about it. And the rule of square, so as long as the king is there, you're absolutely fine. You don't have to worry about anything. But Vincent still, there is only 2 moves. You can just capture or you can pay this. So here Vidit decide to go for on move 37. He still has to play 3 more moves. Rook to e3 he goes for, and now h5. Now just finally giving up the pawn. We have king captures, rook caps on e3, f captures, and the thing is that the position is very, very critical even now. Even for Vincent, he's up on time, but he still has to be very, very careful about the moves that he's going to make. You cannot make a move like king to g3. It completely blunders the game simply because of the fact that now you have a beautiful move which is g4, just setting up this very nice boundary. And now all I have to do, I mean, I am in the square and I can reach the pawn. So even if you go e6, I'll just be able to reach the pawn. And the problem for you is now you cannot move. If you move to capture here, I just push it and I promote, and you cannot even go here try to capture because there is a wall. So what I'll do is just basically get to your pawns, and yeah, I would be capturing all of them. I would be pushing my pawns. I'm in a completely winning position. So you have to be careful here. Vincent obviously is a world-class player. He's not going to blunder like this, but just king to g1, king to g6 now, king to f1, king to f5, king to e2, and king caps on e5 and king caps on e3. And now they both have more than 50 minutes on the clock, so they don't have to worry about this. And in this move, Vidit spent 25 minutes of his time to be able to find the right move. But this endgame is so complicated. This is so complicated that I cannot even tell you that, even a player of Vidit's caliber can actually have a like blunder in this position. Hey, so I'm gonna ask you to pause the video, think about this endgame, and think carefully about this endgame, and try to find the move that you can play, because this is an epic one here. I'm telling you that. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The move is king to d5. If you're able to find king to d5 on your own without evaluation bar or anything else, I mean, just kudos to you. You are a spectacular player, because king to d5, you have to calculate all the repercussions that comes along with it, and you have to see this line as well, that after king to f3, king to d4, you play king to g4, and after king to c3, king captures. Now just going for king caps on c2, and it seems like, how are you pushing the pawn? If I capture this, there is still this, and if I capture this, there is still this one. So how do I actually try to push my pawns? But the thing is that you can, and you can do that only with this line. You have to play this after king to f5. I mean, the pawns are going to be pushing, Vincent is going to be pushing his pawns, but just king caps on b3. And both ways it works, because now if you do anything in this position, let's say you push g4, b5. b5 is the crucial thrust in this position. Now you even if you push the pawn to g5, just b captures, g6, a3, g7, a2, and it feels like you're promoting, and you're promoting with check. But the trouble is, even after king to b2, it's a draw, because next move I'm going to promote, you can get the queen inside, but you have no checks in this position. And even if you go here, I'll just move the king away, and then the problem is your own pawn is troubling you to give me checks, and I'll be able to promote in the next move. And that's the problem with this position. And even if you go the other way around, and let me just show you that, even if you go king caps on d3, then after g4, b5, same thing. Now you just push c4, and after captures, you just push and you promote to a queen, and you have an extra pawn, but still most likely you would have ended in a draw. So Vincent was expecting king to d5 in this position, but here in this position, Vidit blundered and he went c6. And the trouble with c6 is it completely blunders the game. And the expression on Vincent's face was absolutely spectacular, because he was like, what is this move, and the only move that wins the game in this position is c4. With the idea that you will not have a position no matter what you do. And let me show you how a really super grandmaster can get into something like this, because here king to f5 was played, but just king to f3, king to f6, king to e4, and now king to e6, trying to gain the opposition, but just comes g3. Now you have to move your king, and even in this position d4 is completely winning, but g3 was the line that Vincent calculated, so he goes along with it. King to f6 was played, but just g4, and now there is nothing you can do. King to e6, but just d4, c captures, king captures, and now just t6, but just c5 check, pawn pushes. And now you must be thinking, how does this win? Because you have no space for your king to go to. King to c4, and where do you move your king? You cannot go to d5, you cannot keep protecting your pawn, so you have to go back. And once you do, I'm just going to be gobbling those pawns, and I'm going to be pushing my pass pawn. Still with it tries, but after b4, a captures, and now b4 was a crucial move in this position, because you'll be able to push your pass pawn. a5, king to s3, a6, g4, a7, g3, a8 is queen, g2 was played, queen to a7, king to s2, and queen to f2 was tried, but king to h1, and after queen to h4 check, king to g1, and after king to c3, it was on this move, on move 63, that Vidit Gujrathi resigned the game. And what a game! I mean, what a spectacular calculation by Vincent Keymer. Only 18, like, he's basically He's only 21 years old and playing this spectacularly. I mean, this guy is an absolute prodigy and amazing player. And it just shows calculating that c4 move in less than like 5 minutes just proves how amazing of a player he is. And with it, may have blundered and he may not be able to find the correct move, but don't take him lightly. He's still on the race to get into the candidates, but he's gonna have to be pushing every game for a win. And let's see what happens in the next round. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.